Let's get our acceleration here, and then after that we'll kind of sum things up and give this a score. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be going over a 2022 Honda Pilot Black Edition. First and foremost though, a huge shout out and thank you to Stockton 12 Honda here in Utah for giving me some time with the Pilot. Check out their inventory link below. Let's get into the video. Under the hood, we have a naturally aspirated 3.5 liter V6 that goes through a 9-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 19 around town and then 26 on the highway, with power outputs being 280 horsepower and then 262 pound-feet of torque. Now let's go over the Black Edition. We're first going to start off with the lights, because Honda has lights timed where you turn them on. If the car is off, then they'll just like pop up, which is a good safety feature because then you won't have the battery die on you. And you guys can see that happen. But you guys saw while the lights are on, we've got the LED accent light, and then we've got the reflector LEDs, and then turn signals actually down below. And then notice that we've got the fog light right there. We've got our Black Edition logo with the Honda logo that doubles as a sensor, which is pretty cool. And then you guys can see kind of like your full view here with the front. And obviously the Black Edition, it's kind of in the name, pretty much blacks out most of the car, so it makes it look a whole lot sportier. Now coming on the side here, we've got two 45mm tires wrapped around 20-inch wheels in the front and over in the rear as well. And then again, as part of the Black Edition package, the wheels have been all blacked out except for the Honda logo there in the center, which is nice because then it stands out. And then notice that we've got the fender flares right here. And then you guys can see the molding continues down the side. And this one does have side steps that have been added. They are specifically made for the Pilot. They actually say Pilot on them. Pretty cool accessory you can add to the Pilot. And then here is your full side view. Notice that literally everything is like blacked out. So the door handles are body colored. And then you guys can see the crossbars have been added there to the top as well. Those are blacked out, and that's all. Now here's our key fob. You've got the lock, unlock, remote start, and then the opening for the hatch. Honda logo there on the back. Now if we hold that down, that'll pop the hatch. If you guys are running on the remote start, all you have to do is just lock it and then hold down the remote start button, and then that's what will start up the Pilot. And then popping here to the rear, notice that we actually have this covering right here that says Pilot, and then you can flip it up basically when you have the seats folded down, so then you can have some coverage on the seats too, so you don't get them dirty on the back or anything like that, or scratch them as well. In terms of the seats, it's pretty easy. You just have to pull the strap, and then that's what allows you to pull it basically forward or backward, throw it forward, all that kind of stuff. And then if you want it back, you just have to pull it to lock it into place. You use the strap to get it initially, and then you just pull the rest of the seat to get it fully into place. And then you have to pick up the headrest yourself manually. And other than that, that is everything for the back. So we're gonna press that. And now she's closed. Now finishing things up with the rear of the Pilot, notice here with the taillights how it's kind of like a little bit darker there on the side. Badges are all blacked out here as part of the Black Edition, and then the Honda logo on the back is actually blacked out. Got the camera just down below it. Parking sensors here at the bottom. Notice the trim right there has also been blacked out, and that's all for that. Now here's the door panel in the rear. First off, we do have these sunshades for the rear passengers. And then notice we got the leather trim here with the red stitching that goes through it. I think that looks great. Tons of storage space. We've got cup holders right there, obviously. And then you guys can see the seats. This is my favorite part. So red stitching again, but notice here in the perforations, you've got the red behind with the leather, so that looks really cool, especially on camera actually. And then again, more stitching just down below. You got your adjustments on the side of the seat, and again, you do have those side steps you can use to get in. But anyways, here's legroom. You guys can see headroom's great, and this one does have the optional TV here in the back. And then notice down below we've got some climate control, so you've got heated seats, and then you have your own climate here, and then a bunch of charging ports for the rear passengers. And then as for the third row, headroom's actually great back there. I've gotten back into a bunch of Pilots over the last few years, and so yeah, headroom's great. Legroom a little bit more on the cramped side. I would recommend long trips, kids, but if you're doing like just a short trip, adults are fine. Notice they have some cup holders back there, which is nice. And let's head to the front. Now here's the door panel at the front. So notice that we've got really nice leather trim down below, again with that red stitching. You've got your window controls, notice the front two are automatic. Got your memory seats, and here's a quick look at the mirrors. You've got this for the hatch, that for the gas cap. And then we got the front seat here again with the red stitching and then the red perforations. And then notice we've got, again, more red stitching there. Adjustments on the side of the seat. Got our Pilot floor mat. And then you can see the pedals all down below in that area. And then also we got our stability control up here, lane departure, collision assistance, parking sensors. You've got this for the mirrors, that's for the econ mode. Steering wheel is manually adjustable, and there's where I'm gonna look before we pop in. Here's our steering wheel in the Pilot. Notice we've got, again, more red stitching with the steering wheel, and then we've got the leather trim all around, heated steering wheel button. We've got our lane keep assistance, so it's like a steering assistance basically, with your adaptive cruise control. You've got your homepage button over here with all the voice command phone controls, paddle shifters there on the back for that 9-speed, and then you've got the turn signal light stock, windshield wiper stock. That's all for the steering wheel. Now here's the center gauge cluster. Notice that on the one side you've got the temperature, on the other side you got the fuel, and then you do have that screen there in the very center, which notice we can go through a few different things, like the all-wheel drive torque, which I'm going to have that up while we're driving, which is pretty cool. But yeah, other than that, pretty easy to use, gives you general vehicle information, and well, that's all. Now here's the center infotainment system. First off, we're going to pop it into reverse. So notice we got the backup camera with trajectory lines. They do turn with the steering wheel. Now notice that you have a few different viewpoints that you can go into with the camera system on top of that. So overall, really easy to use. Now, as for the rest of the infotainment system, first off, response time with these side buttons is actually really good. And you guys can see, looks great. Notice that it does come with, of course, I clicked the wrong button. So we're just gonna press the homepage button again. Takes us back. Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. And then you guys heard the feedback sound it makes, which is pretty cool. I don't know, I think it's like a satisfying sound. And then I think it's pretty nicely integrated here into the dash as well. We've got our climate controls just down below. Again, we've got the 3-zone climate, so the 2 up front and then the 1 in the rear. And then I'm actually gonna turn that off, but we've got heated ventilated seats here for the front passengers. Again, heated for the second row, so that's pretty cool. Charging area, so you've got like the wireless phone charger and then the traditional stuff. We've got our gear selector just down below. And then this is actually our drive mode select. So we've got our normal, snow, mud, and then our sand that you can go between. And then our auto stops are below that. We've got a couple cup holders, some extra storage space right over here in the center console. And then notice that there is another little charging port right there. And then coming over here, you guys will notice we've got the glove box, more black trim, and then notice that we actually have some stitching and soft touch here on the dash as well. So that is all very nice. And then finishing things here at the very top, we do have a sunroof for the front. Now we don't have a panoramic because remember we do have the TV there in the second row. And then we've got the sunglass holder slash mirror right there at the very top, and then the controls for the sunroof. And speaking of that, I bet this has cabin talk then. We will see. Wait for it, right there. It does come with cabin talk, so you also have that. So you don't have to yell at the third row passengers. I should have mentioned that in the infotainment system section. It's very hard to say. Try to say that 10 times. Infotainment system section. But anyways, it's got cabin talk. Now there's quite a bit of glare, so it's pretty hard to see the window sticker. But anyways, the total MSRP before any options were added, $51,845. And wait for it. Let's take it out and see how it drives. Let's go over visibility before we set off. There's your visibility of the hood, both of the mirrors, throughout the rest of the rear, and let's set off. So we are getting up and moving here in the Black Edition Pilot. And first off, let's talk about the road noise and the ride quality. So first off, from a ride quality perspective, yeah, it does a good job. Doesn't really get upset going over stuff. You definitely can feel that it's happening, but it doesn't upset the vehicle, so it's not uncomfortable, and it's not like bone jarring or anything like that. So good, comfortable ride. And then in terms of a road noise perspective, you hear a little bit from the tires, but it's almost non-existent. It's very, very minimal. But other than that, it's pretty good from a noise perspective. You don't really hear any wind noise or anything like that, so that's solid. So let's get our acceleration here, and then after that, we'll kind of sum things up and give this a score. I love seeing the all-wheel drive, like where the torque and power is going. It's so cool that they give you that real-time display showing like if it's being, you know, more all-wheel drive or if it's being more front-wheel drive biased or any. It's just cool to see that in real time. So that's definitely something that I think is cool that Honda offers for you to see all the time. But yeah, acceleration is good. It's where it needs to be within the segment. from an acceleration perspective with this 3.5 liter V6, and that'll get me to summing things up. So first off, with this Black Edition package, I think it looks really good on the outside. You guys know I'm a huge fan for sporty looking vehicles, and even though the Pilot isn't necessarily the sportiest looking vehicle, the Passport's kind of the sportier looking one, this Black Edition definitely works. It makes it look a whole lot better, so I am all about it. Interior wise, I love the red accenting. I think it looks fantastic, really nice overall. Tons of nice tech as well. Good safety tech on top of all of that. And then you've got cool stuff like the cabin talk. And obviously having a sunroof is nice. And then the TV in the back for the little kids, right? So all of that is great. And then it's smooth, it's quiet, it's comfortable. And yeah, just does everything good from a driving perspective. And like I said, acceleration's right where it needs to be for the segment. So what is our rating for this Pilot Black Edition? I'm gonna have to actually, well, this is kind of tough for me. I love the Pilot Black Edition, but if you just got like an Elite, you're pretty similar in price. Well, actually, I feel like you're a little bit less in price than a Black Edition, but you're getting about the same equipment, so the Elite's a little bit of a better value. So I'm gonna knock this by half a point just because of that, even though I love this package more than an Elite, because I think it looks better. That's just my personal preference. But you know, someone buying this is probably gonna be looking more for value rather than, you know, just wanting it to look the coolest. So yeah, I will knock it half a point for that, and I'll give the overall score a 7.5. An Elite would be an 8, again, because it's a little bit of a better value, because it's a little bit less money, not a huge difference. But overall, this is great, super competitive within the segment. It doesn't do anything crazy out there that makes it like really like stand out in a crazy way, but like it does everything really good. And then you have Honda reliability, and so like it's just a really good, reliable, comfortable third row SUV. You don't have to concede anything with the Pilot, and so it's like the safe option to go for. Really good overall, and that's all. Now let's get some things up for our video on this 2022 Honda Pilot Black Edition. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to Stockton 12 Honda for giving me some time with the Pilot. Check out their inventory link below. I'll see all of you in the next video.